Hello there, bookish besties. Today we are going over the books I read in January and whether or not basically I recommend these books or I don't. January was honestly, a really great month towards my reading goal. I think this is the best month that I've personally ever had, and I definitely owe that credit to you guys and to this channel because it's just really given me such new light and excitement to read all of the books on my TBR. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. Grab your little bevy of choice, get all comfy with a blanket or even a cozy sweatshirt like I have on, and let's dive into January books. Just so you guys know, this video is not necessarily in any particular order, just a bunch of books I read in January with my most anticipated book at the very end, just for you guys. So starting out strong with Dinner for Vampires. You guys probably already know Bethany Joy Lenz and who she is. This is Haley James Scott from One Tree Hill, one of my favorite shows in the early 2000s, teen drama. Oh, it was beautiful. It was amazing. Some of the writing and the characters, phenomenal world building, phenomenal characters. Was on for 7 seasons on the CW, and Bethany Joy Lenz played Haley James Scott from the show, who is one of the rare characters that stayed until the end of season 7. So Dinner for Vampires is Bethany's, or as she'd rather be called, Joy. It is Joy's memoir of how she was in a cult while filming this cult TV show. Her story in this is so inspiring. My jaw dropped just hearing all of the things that she was going through while filming this beloved character that I have come to love and this TV show that I've come to love, and knowing all the things that was happening to her and around her behind the scenes was just absolutely jaw-dropping. There's a lot of experiences that Joy Lenz had in her own religious experience that I kind of related to in my own experience that made this book such an interesting, thought-provoking, and just really powerful read. Also, she is an iconic queen who needs every dollar earned from the sales of this book. Seriously, go out, buy this book, support her, support in all of this. I do not necessarily want to spoil what happens to her by any means, because technically we're spoiling a book, but it is also a memoir. So like you can easily go and Google it and see what happens. And I'm just gonna say that the leader in charge of this cult, I hope he gets what's coming to him. I really do. Because taking advantage and manipulating people that look up to you and it's just like my pet peeve. If you are set to be a leader in a church and you take advantage of the people below you, goodbye. Literally goodbye. So anyway, add this to your TBR if you haven't already. Such a great read. I think I finished it in like a couple of days. Also, for the audiobook lovers, she does narrate the audiobook herself, so it is a great audiobook experience as well. All right, my first fantasy book of the year is Serpent and the Wings of Night. Basically, if Hunger Games had vampires, that is this book. We have our baddie female main character, who of course is the token human, who's entering this essential battle to the death for ultimate power amongst a bunch of different vampires. Of course, there's a steamy love interest and an ending that just makes your jaw drop to the floor. It was one of those books where I got to a certain point near the end and could not put it down. I was flipping because I had to know what was going on. Overall, great read. If you love fantasy, love a little romance in your fantasy, but it's not like the main storyline, Serpent and the Wings of Night, add it to your TBR. I also finished the Twisted series this month, so I got Twisted Hate and Twisted Lies. I'll go into Twisted Hate first. This is best friend's brother, enemies to lovers, and that tension is just, it is so good. Our female main character, she's fiery, she's fierce, she's sarcastic. She says what she thinks and does not care what anyone else thinks of her. I looked up to this character so much in this book, and because she's a reoccurring character throughout the entire Twisted series, she's a character I loved before and after. But being able to experience the book in her point of view was such a wonderful experience, and I love to get to see her insecurities on the inside, because we've just seen like this really strong and independent woman, I should say. And we also get to see the real side of her and the inside in this book. And it's a great read. Okay, Twisted Lies is the fourth and final book in the Twisted series, and dare I say, might be my favorite. At least between the two, I like Twisted Lies better. The female main character works in social media, and let me just say her job hit a little too close to home for me personally. And then our main male character, he was hot, he was spicy. I could read his point of view all day long. Is he toxic? Yeah, a little. Were some of the things he did like very borderline, not okay? Yes. Would I have let it slide and maybe seen it as a green flag? Also yes. But I think that's more a me issue. I think it's a red flag on my part that I would let some of the things he did slide. Let you be the deciding factor on that, because the Twisted series, Twisted Love, Twisted Games, Twisted Hate, and Twisted Lies definitely all add to your TBR. I also have a video coming out around the Twisted series comparing and contrasting all the characters, plot lines, side plot lines, and overall ranking coming soon, so keep your eyes out. You Shouldn't Have Come Here is my very first thriller of 2025. Yeah, that's really the only good thing I can say about that. I truly love this author and her work, but this book just did not hit it for me. In a quick synopsis, you have our female main character. She throws a dart at a board and decides she's going to go vacation in Wyoming. She books an Airbnb where she is the sole guest at a guest room in a random man's Airbnb in the middle of Wyoming. A bunch of different things happen to her during her stay at this Airbnb, and it's enough for me, the reader, to be like, why are you still there? Girly pop. If any one of these things happened to me on this trip, where, by the way, I am secluded and alone with a stranger, and a strange man at that, goodbye. I am getting out. I am leaving. Why in the world are you still here? Anyway, the ending did have a really interesting twist. Half of me saw it from a mile away, and the other half of me was like, what is happening? A lot of the dialogue between the two characters were also very cringy. And I swear, if I have to hear blue eyes one more time, I am literally gonna go puke. Would I suggest adding this to your TBR? Not necessarily. I think you can do without this book. There's a lot better thrillers out there, and I have a list if you want some. And honestly, please give me a list. Comment some really good thrillers down below, because I'm in a little thrilly mood this year. So instead of putting You Should Have Come Here on your TBR, put Local Woman Missing. This book, so good. I finished it in literally 2 days flat. This book was such an intense thriller. It was fast-paced. It got you right at the start, diving in to what in the world is going on. Twists and turns around every corner, kept introducing new potential characters and plot lines, and the plot just thickens, and you truly do not have a clear answer until the very end of what in the world is going on. You have one local woman missing, you have a mother and a daughter missing, you have so many connected storylines and family ties, you have flashbacks to 11 years earlier when everything went down, and then the present time when things are happening in present time, different perspectives from different characters to all tell their side of the story, and it's just so good. Like I said, my jaw was dropping, there were twists in every corner. I truly had no idea what was going on, but I was hanging on tight and I was enjoying that ride. So I will say this was my first good thriller of 2025, and if you haven't read it already, definitely put Local Woman Missing on your TBR. Which leads us to my most anticipated read of January, which was Onyx Storm, and you guys already knew that, honestly, by the amount of Empyrean content I've been posting in the month of January to hype up for this release on January 21st. I finished this book in 48 hours, but truly I could have finished it in 24. I was just trying to savor it a little bit more because it was so good. I had my fair share of complaints about the second book, Iron Flame, but Miss Rebecca, you delivered on Onyx Storm. It was so beautifully written. There were so many key Easter eggs and foreshadowing tidbits, and you set up the plot in such a great way. And these characters, I am very scared for the future of these characters in this plot, but scared in a good way because I'm excited to continue reading the series and I'm excited to see what happens next. I am sad I'm going to have to wait an unknown amount of time, but I know it's going to be anywhere from a year, year and a half to maybe even more to figure out what happens, but it's fine. I've come to terms because this was a great book. If you have not started the Empyrean series yet, this is your sign to pick up Fourth Wing and thus pick up Iron Flame, cry a little bit, and then pick up Onyx Storm. And there you have it, my TBR for January of 2025. 7 books this month, and that is the most I think I've ever read in a month, if I'm being completely honest. And that's on my dedication to you guys and also to myself because I love reading and I love taking in this content, so I'm gonna do more of it. I'm really excited that 2 of these were book club books. Let me know in the comments below, what books did you read in January? What books do you have on your TBR for future months? Are there any books that I should read and put on my TBR? Make sure they're on my radar. I already have a laundry list. I'll get through it eventually. But it's one of those things where it's like someone says something and you're like, ah, yes, let me add it to my Goodreads, let me add it to my story graph. And you go and you put it in and then you have like over 100 books on that list. And it's just the craving of the day is which one do you choose to read next? I've got a lot of fun things coming for you guys in February and March. Maybe a little prep for a certain prequel that's coming out on March 18th that has to do with a little dystopian trilogy that we all know and love. Maybe, just maybe. Get prepped, get ready. I don't know. That's about all I got to say here. I'm so bad at endings. I feel like I'm so awkward, but we're just gonna be in this awkwardness together. Long story short, like this video, comment your TBR for January. What did you read? I want to know. I am nosy. Share this video with your friends if I've talked about any books on here that they've read and they love, or any books that you're like, hey, you should really read this book, and here's a recommendation of why you should read it. As always, guys, I will see y'all next time, and in the meantime, happy reading.